Welcome to the COMC High School Basketball Coaches Show, Central Ozarks Medical Center, where your health is their mission. Also brought to you by Slumberland at the Lake. Got their President's Day sale going on now. Our veterinary, the official veterinary of Lake TV, and our good friends at Surdike Yamaha. And on this week's show, we're talking Camdenton Lakers basketball with first-year head coach Daniel Edson. Coach, thanks for joining us, man.
I appreciate it and love your guys' support. So it's really awesome to come out here and talk with you guys.
Man, I'll tell you, we feel so lucky just because basketball is so much fun to cover. But down here in the Lake area, there's so many great teams, great coaches, and so we're so thankful. And you being a Camdenton guy in your first year, as I look at the schedule and the results so far, you guys have been such a streaky team. Talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah, that's a nice way to put it. I always say we're a roller coaster, but we won our first 9. We lost 7 or 8 in a row, won a couple more. Then we're kind of on a 3-game skid right now. But, you know, most importantly, we're in all the games except for 2. So we're playing well, just not well enough, obviously.
Yeah, I did notice that so many and more of your losses were even closer. It seems like, you know, a couple of double overtime games and a couple of 2- and 3-point games. And it's like, man, you guys really have been there. Every coach says that, right?
Right.
Like, man, I know our schedule says we're 500, but we should be. You guys legitimately could be 16-5, you know, 15-6 right now. And so how do you keep the guys with all these close games still with that mindset that, hey, we're competitive, we got a shot to make a run? How do you keep them in that place?
Yeah, it's difficult, not because of the guys, but just the situations that we've been in. Like you said, we've played in 10 overtimes so far this year. And realistically, I wholeheartedly mean it, and it's no disrespect to anybody we've played. I feel like we could be 20-2 right now with Parkview and Kickapoo really handing it to us and dominating the game. But I'm lucky to be led by so many seniors. I've got 10 seniors on the team that it's not necessarily their passion to play basketball or anything like that, but they're there because they want to compete. I've got really good athletes that are competitors through and through. So they make it easy for me because I think I dwell on our close games more than they do, and just talk about. I'm real with them. We have real, honest conversations all the time, and I tell them this is what I think we need to do to get better, and they do it. So now we just got to put it all together.
Yeah, and you mentioned the 10 seniors, and I'd imagine for these guys that a lot of them have played, you know, a handful of years, and this year's team has won more games in the last few years, and so I bet there's a lot of pride with this year's senior class and the way they go out.
I think so as too. I think you're exactly right. And when I found out that, you know, Coach Campbell was planning on leaving, I was really excited to have the shot. And not that it was just mine for the taking, but I wanted to be with this senior group. Yeah. And the guys that didn't even play last year or 2 years in a row, I knew that I have a connection with them, you know, just a personal connection with them that I figured that they would come out and play for me and with us for the program. So just a fantastic way for me to start my career at a really good senior group.
So we look at this year's team, your first year, you guys have played in that Ozark Conference. Darn, it's tough. When you look across the competition you guys are faced with, you know, I know that you look at your team and how you guys have fared, but what do you think about some of the competition across the Ozark Conference this year? Are there any teams that stand out to you where you're like, that team really does have it?
Every single team, it seems like.
Yeah.
And before the season, I always told the guys, you know, I don't want to try to say that we need to be Kickapoo, but there's so many respectful teams that, you know, I would love to emulate. Just eat, sleep, and breathe basketball. It's not what I'm going to ask of the guys because it's not what they do around here at the lake. To play more, obviously, it would be ideal, but everybody's got it going on right now. We're last in the conference, and we've got 11 victories because we have 0 Ozark Conference wins. 4 or 5 of them are decided within 2 to 6 points. So it's just been tough. You know, Hillcrest is red hot right now. Parkview plays well. We're about to play Central tomorrow. Or on Tuesday. They're really good. Rolla's good. They handed it to us. We haven't played Waynesville yet, but they've got a couple guys that can just flat play. So the Ozark Conference, there's no bums in the Ozark Conference. Right now, if I had to say it, it's us. And it's just because we're at the bottom of the conference as far as win-losses in the conference. So I just love playing in the conference. I say that, you know, I'm kind of like, man, give me something that's a little bit easier. But the competition hopefully leads us into districts where we play a really tough district this year, and we'll be okay, hopefully.
Yeah, and that's one beautiful thing about high school basketball is, you know, even if you don't fare well in some of these games and it's close, if you're playing your best basketball come district time, that's when you can make a run. And for your team, although this district, as you mentioned, St. Francis Borgia, you got Raleigh, Union, Jeff City, but you know your team is capable of playing with these teams. And so have you gotten the feel from your team that they're eager, they're chomping at the bit for the district tourney because they know they can make a run?
I think so. On Friday, we played against Bolivar. We played them really well. That would have been a huge upset in conference because they're number 2 in conference. And like I said, we're last. But that kind of set the tone. I told the guys that game had a lot of pressure riding on it because there's some of our common opponents in districts that have played Bolivar, Helias, and some of the other teams. And that would give us an argument for a seeding. And everything we do right now is giving us an argument for seeding. You don't want to go into districts the 8 seed, so hopefully we can squeak out a 5-6 or so. And then, I think the guys are chomping at the bit. And something I'm stressing right now is late in the season, I got a lot of guys that play spring sports. They run track, they play baseball, et cetera. And so I can't have them checking out yet. It's a daily reminder that we can sneak up on some teams if they have guys checking out, as long as all of us are still invested in finishing this season. I think our guys are doing a really good job of that so far.
And we'll talk a little bit about a couple of those guys in particular. Plus, you guys may not know, but this guy actually in the National Guard. We'll talk about that and how that might play into basketball season. We return to the Central Ozarks Medical Center High School Basketball Coaches Show after this.
At COMC, your health is our mission. Central Ozarks Medical Center is growing in our community with a new dental location to serve you in Eldon and a new location in Loring. COMC also makes your children a priority with a mobile dental unit serving schools in rural areas where access can be a challenge. COMC also offers OBGYN, sports medicine, pediatric, and behavioral health care. Get more info on how COMC can help you at centralozarks.org. COMC, where your health is our mission.
Hey everyone, Daryl Cunningham with Slumberland Furniture at the Lake. Our President's Day of sales is going on, so that means it's time to save good money on great mattresses. Tempur-Pedics, Stearns & Foster, Sealy Posturepedics, they're all on sale. Come get a great sleep system and save tons of money. Slumberland Furniture, where we're bringing happy home.
If you love the lake, you gotta love Lake TV.
Your furry friends are more than pets, they're family, and at our veterinary, we understand that. With multiple locations, we can service your pets when and where you need it. Our team of professionals offer routine wellness, orthopedic care from broken bones to joint repair, and even emergency services. We are ready to welcome your pet to our family with medical or preventative care. Our veterinary, with 6 convenient locations, the team providing exceptional care for your pet when and where you need it.
Visit Surdak Yamaha at Lake of the Ozarks, 50 years strong.
And we're back here on the COMC High School Basketball Coaches Show. We've got Camdenton first-year head coach Daniel Edson. No secret, or no stranger, I should say, to the Camdenton program. That's a school you went to, and a lot of good sports memories, especially on the football field, man. A couple of one last-minute game. You want to talk about that?
Yeah, sure.
That thrilling. Isn't it the 05 state championship
That's
game?
it, yeah.
Walk us through before we talk about the basketball. Kids, tell us about 05 in the state championship game.
Yeah, we talked about it briefly with Chris last time, and just talking about what's the it factor as far as state championships go. And I stress the importance of the brotherhood, as cliche as that sounds, but even today we can stay in contact with some of the 05 guys, and it's special. But the play that you're talking about, the Forest Shock against Lee Summit West, they were a pretty new school, I think 2 or 3 years in the making at that time. But minute 38 or so left, I come to the sideline after they kick one through the end zone, so we're on the 20-yard line. Bob Shore says, gate left, slot right, 71, split and curl, slot release. I literally looked at him, I said, "Are you sure?" And he said yes, and obviously he's a Hall of Famer because he knows what to do. So go on from there, and we defeat Afton in the state championship, and just, one of those memories you'll never forget. So
It was an 80-yard play to Fortis Shark?
it was, yeah, 80-yard play. But the thing about it is obviously that was one play and done, so there was still minute 15 or minute whatever left, and our defense came up with a big stop. Drew Spears makes an interception, and we get to go to state. So it was fun. It was a lot of fun.
As fun as that was, did you realize then how big of a deal and how now being back around that 05 team is so talked about, and just how that left its mark forever on not just the school but the community? Are you kind of surprised at the impact that's made?
Yeah, I guess so. And I don't mean this in any arrogance, we knew how good we were. We didn't lose a game until our sophomore year whenever we all got split up. I guess our freshman year we lost one, so we were extremely talented, but it was because we played together for so long. Every time that we were outside, we were doing something, not necessarily always football, but we had that bond, and I'm pleased and honored that we're still compared to some of the greatest teams that play at Camdenton. But it wasn't me. It wasn't just Dennis Chairs. We had a bunch of guys that were really good at football and dedicated to each other, and that's what I'm trying to bring to the basketball court.
And you guys have some great players. One in particular. Let's talk about Aaron and the senior season he's had. And is there any plans for him to go play at the next level?
Absolutely, yeah. He's got a few schools reaching out to him, offered him already. I'm really proud of how focused he's been able to be this season, even though that pressure of where am I going to go next could really consume a 17, 18-year-old kid. But he's taken that as a challenge, I believe, and just kind of waited to express all of his options and see where exactly he wanted to go. So he'll make a decision here pretty soon. But I think more importantly, and I love it about him, he's more dedicated to this season rather than thinking about next year.
That's awesome. Now, one thing I don't think a lot of people know is you're a second lieutenant in the National Guard, and you have been now for 10 years, correct? Yeah. And so does that ever interfere with the basketball season?
Luckily, with the National Guard, you can make up drills or whatnot if I'm missing, but this summer is going to be kind of tough. I've got to go finish my BOLIC, which is a schooling for my commissioning as an officer. But I can swing it, and that's why you rely on your assistant coaches to be able to fill in for you whenever you can't be there or whatnot. But as far as major implications, no, it's not really been much challenging at all.
It's great, best of all worlds. All right, so Coach, I want to ask you, as your first year as kind of winds down, how do you feel about the future? I know that we still got unfinished business this season, but as a whole at this point, how's the first season gone, and where do you think the state of the program's at?
Yeah, absolutely. Before the season, I planned on being undefeated going to the blue and gold. That was our common goal that we talked about as a staff and as a whole program, and we accomplished that. And then my goal for the season was to win at least 15 games. It'll be tough to do that now, sitting at 11-11, but it is still possible. We have some winnable games on the schedule, and I like to think with my guys that every game's a winnable game. But answering your question as a whole and moving forward, like you said, we're not moving forward yet. We've got a really good youth program. Our 7th grade, they were about just a game under 500, I think, this year. Pretty small guys, but some talented guys. 8th grade was 15-3, if I'm not mistaken, playing excellent basketball. That's another big group that could be comparable to this senior group that I have right now. I don't know if there'll be 6 or 10 seniors by that time, but quite a few. And then our freshmen and our JV teams have done really well this year as well. So, and the cool part that always gets or never gets talked about is it's always my program and me and the head coach. I've got a lot of dads just out there that are doing, travel basketball, and it's helping our program more than they probably know. But so an opportunity to say thank you to them is definitely deserved as well, because they're planting the seed and they're rearing the kids for basketball. So I appreciate that big time.
Well, Coach, man, we appreciate your time as we wrap up here. Good luck the rest of the way, and then into districts. That's Daniel Edson, Camdenton Lakers head men's basketball coach on this week's COMC Coaches Show.